This podcast sucks.
Troup, Smooch, and the Dog Show. Another new episode is coming up tonight.
It's the Dog Show. It's the Dog Show. It's the Dog Show. It's the Dog Show.
Yes! You're listening to the one and only Dog Show. Your hosts, Troup, Brenson, and Smooch Moncrief.
Come on.
Just two dudes talking Georgia football.
Welcome, dog fans, to the one and only Dog Show with Troup and Smooch.
Listen to them dogs barking, Troop. Listen at them. Isn't that beautiful? Beautiful.
So close to actual football time, just over a week away. You know, before the Dogs play, there's going to be a little bit of action this weekend, but we are on fire right now, and the rest of the football world is just chomping at the bit, on fire as well. And you're just hearing so much. Everybody's got opinions right now, Smooch, and I love it. Well, how is it, since you're in Huntsville, how's it going right now with the news that Jam Miller may be hurt, maybe out 6 to 8 weeks, possibly with a collarbone injury? How is that going over in Alabama land?
As funny as within these various programs. So I started getting texts from them, from my Alabama guys, early Sunday morning. Somebody here locally had said he's assured to miss the season opener. Well, that gives people false hope when you say that. And so that's exactly what had happened. And so they were like, oh, what happened? I said, was it dislocated collarbone? Is that the actual injury?
I don't even know if they've released it yet, but
But
they were going to do a procedure, a medical procedure on him that night, Saturday night, is what I read.
They had to jump right on it, right? And so he's looking at a couple of months. So it was not taken well. I will tell you this. You know, we respect Alabama fans. You know, there's certain fan bases we don't have a lot of respect for, but Alabama fans know some football until you get to the crazies. But anyway, they understand exactly. And the season hasn't started yet, true, but they understand right now exactly what they're looking at. They haven't balled in on Kalen DeBoer yet, despite the crazies that we played on our show. They haven't balled in on Kalen. They know they need all the help they can get. They don't like to see him shooting TikToks with his team. They feel like the team is undisciplined. And now you've got an injury. What'd you say, the best offensive player on the Tide? And
He, in a thin running back room, he's the guy that is the big running back, and he's a good receiver out of the backfield too. So he is one of those indispensable top players for their offense.
Do you think Justice Haynes regrets his decision to transfer right now?
I don't know how good he is, other than what he's did in high school. We don't know yet.
I know. That's a crazy one.
Let's preface the show real quick. We will talk, of course, about the scrimmage, the big scrimmage.
Yes, we
scrimmage
will.
number 2. They may not even be a scrimmage this weekend. If there is, it's something very light. So huge scrimmage this past weekend. We'll talk about that. And then we're going to do some more discussion on one of Georgia's rooms, one of their skill positions, the running back room. We've talked about their defensive line, the wide receivers. We're going to talk about Nate Frazier and the running back room and what to expect from those guys. We also did this week a Dog Show ball knower poll, top 15.
Yes, the ball knower, top 15.
We settled on 15, not because this is not yet our playoff predictors, but if you got 12 teams and you got maybe 3 more right on that cusp, I thought 15 was a good number.
I think it's a great number. I wish I'd see more 15 polls. Yeah.
Right, so that's the top 15 dog knower poll. And then we got I wouldn't say a new entrant into the DFA, the Delusional Fan Alert, but another orange team, burnt orange, as we got Texas on.
What is it about that color in making you absolutely delusional, True Britson?
But a fun show. Got a big show ready to go. We invite you folks to give us a subscribe on our platforms. Check out our YouTube version. That was the one really that's blowing up right now. And every week we've done really well. That's where we use a lot of visuals and a lot of different bells and whistles that you will enjoy, mostly there, but anywhere else you can still get a good time listening to the Dog Show.
Yeah.
And Smooch, we were just talking about Alabama. and so not very far from Huntsville, over in Auburn, Alabama. Georgia's beating those guys 8 in a row, 17 out of 20.
Right.
They're recruiting terrible right now, but hope springs eternal. Before games start, hope springs eternal. And you were telling me something in the pre-show that there's a faction of those fans in a particular podcast that they're really talking about Georgia, and they really feel good. Really, not just they think they have a chance, they feel good about that game.
They're feeling good, man. Not only confident but cocky. I'm going to play this right here, but let me set it up a little bit. So I got a hold of this today. This is a small podcast in which we're all small podcasts. I don't mean that derogatory, but let me see if I can't find the name of it on here. It's an Auburn podcast. They come on and they are talking that the Georgia game, they feel great about it. They think they'll win. They think they're favored because it's at home and Georgia has no players. But the best way to sum it up is to let you guys listen to it. Check this out. About 55 seconds.
Auburn versus Georgia game will be a night game in Jordan-Hare, and I'm weirdly confident about it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. First and foremost, it's so refreshing to not be playing Georgia at 2:30 because it feels like we do that every single year. But I feel great about it. I mean, home field makes a huge difference in this sort of rivalry game. You know, you look at Georgia, I mean, I really only see 1 or 2 players in their starting lineup that's going to be a big impact player in the NFL. I just don't see what I used to see when you look at their roster, and they don't have the depth they used to have either. I mean, does Gunnar Stockton scare you whatsoever? I mean, it doesn't scare me. Zachariah Branch was their big transfer portal wide receiver piece that they added, and he's decent, but you know what that looks like to me is they reached out to Eric Singleton Jr. He said no. They reached out to Horatio Fields. He said, no, thanks. I'm going to Auburn with Eric. And then their third option was probably Zachariah Branch. I think we take care of him pretty easily this year.
So the best part, they made some points that I will agree that it sets up decent for Auburn the time of year it is. And
it'll be great to play at night. That'll be
at
fun.
night.
Yeah.
And Jordan-Hare, it's a tough place to play, no doubt. But they finished off talking about they just don't know Georgia players. I'm like, that doesn't matter at all. We'll pull up the blue chips on this team and go head to head with any team in the country. Just because you guys don't know their names yet, because they aren't household names in your neighborhood, does not mean that they are not stacked with talent and really, really outclassing the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, you know, first of all, I'm not going to get on here and defend Gunnar Stockton because we got a feeling you guys are about to find out.
Yeah,
there's no reason to keep defending him with words because he's about to be able to do it with his arms and his legs. But the idea that Zachariah Branch was somehow the third most coveted receiver in the transfer portal to Georgia, you're talking about the number 1 wide receiver coming out of high school, coming into Georgia. No, that was Georgia. If Kirby gets his guy, so if Zachariah Branch was Kirby's guy, he went and got him. That's why you see him with Georgia. He's not a third. He's not a consolation prize.
Yeah, so we enjoy that, but though was it last year we were hearing all this stuff about
Vanilla Vic,
Vanilla Vic, and what was the quarterback's name?
Peyton Thorne.
He was going to be the white Michael Vick. He was that good. We laughed. We had good fun with that, but it didn't last very long at all. Once they played a team with a pulse, things went very, very off the rails for Auburn's offense.
That kid at receiver is good. Coleman, that's a good player.
And even this Singleton, I think they got from Georgia Tech. Georgia did want him. Yes,
of course.
I don't know what led him to Auburn. I really don't know, but he was a receiver that was coveted. Yeah. But Georgia has potentially the deepest and most talented wide receiver room in their program's history right now. So they aren't regretting missing out on Singleton, right? Just because you don't know the players that are there who are ready to blow, who blew up in the scrimmage this past week. So that leads us right into there. And Smooch, everybody's question whether they say it out loud or not when they question Georgia. And you see these polls come out and people's ideas about where Georgia is. It really is based on Gunnar Stockton.
It is.
Sometimes they won't say it because then they'll immediately get told, well, Georgia is maybe the most talented team in the country, if not that 1, 2, or 3 right in there. Mm-hmm. They've won championships before with a player that was undervalued. So they know that that'll come at them. So everybody doesn't want to pin it on Gunnar Stockton, but that's really the impetus. I'll tell you what makes me feel really good as we talk about this scrimmage is that Coach Smart was comfortable enough with how Stockton has been performing all during the spring and camp, that he only got a couple of series.
That's exactly right. He's treated him like a starter he wanted to protect.
And not just a starter, but a guy who was ready.
Had nothing left to prove.
He wasn't going to iron out anything else in these scrimmage games. Mm-hmm. He was going to let's move on to quarterback 2 and 3. And
spot on.
And so if you don't think about it that way, take solace that Coach Smart feels that way about Gunnar Stockton, and he led 2 touchdown drives right off the bat,
and then put him on ice. I've said this. I am done defending Gunnar Stockton because he's a big boy. He can take care of himself. You guys are about to find out. I have had trouble keeping my mouth shut since I saw this kid play in the 9th grade. I got a feeling everybody's going to find out this year about Gunnar Stockton. And Georgia will win games because of him, not in spite of him or not with him as some sort of throwaway factor like a Jake Coker with Alabama type of thing. No, they will win because of Gunnar Stockton.
Yeah. So just looking at some scrimmage notes and what we were able to hear, because we weren't there. Of course, some people thought we might have been there with the notes we came out with. No, we were just using some services that were talking to people. Last weekend was Family and Letterman Day.
And we turned them out fast. We turned them out fast too. That was a big thing. Yeah.
So Family and Letterman Day meant there were some folks on the field that were willing to text, back to some
friendly people.
Yes, very friendly people, and we just kind of relayed that to you.
Yeah.
And then Gunnar did lead the team right down the field, and you saw Georgia focused on running the ball and asserting themselves on the ground, and they did that. Over 50 yards on that first drive. Dillon Bell with the end around. And you've all heard this. For 30 yards right in there. Mm-hmm. And Nate Frazier punched it in after they got inside the 5-yard line. Yep. And they did some of the same things. Dwight Phillips, again, a player that people are sleeping on. We know he's got talent.
Yeah.
But it's finding a role for him. And it feels like they're going to find a role, maybe running end arounds. I don't know, the jet sweep.
The jet sweep, yeah, something like that. You get him in space and special, 25 yards, I believe. Get him in space and special things can happen. Let's not lose this, Troop. The offensive line with Juan Gaston stepping up and making all that happen. That was huge to see the line assert itself. 2 straight scoring drives against any SEC defense is pretty darn good. Against a Georgia defense, it's something to turn your head.
It is, and they may end up using, at least early on, a 3-man rotation.
I think that's what you'll see.
Now, that would be with Calhoun, Juan Gaston, and then Uini, another player that's been playing a good bit. They're trying to find out what these guys can do against a really good defense that Georgia has, and so they're getting tested. And if they're playing well, then they'll see more snaps. That will settle itself.
Yeah.
But if not, then you are training folks to be ready to play if somebody goes down.
You're witnessing the room. That's the room with the 3 monsters in it. You're witnessing it right now. Which monster walks out of that room? That's what we're waiting for.
And those guys are guards, and so you're going to need that. And I was very pleased, first of all, just like you said, with the offense. Mm-hmm. And some of the names that we heard, Smooch, one of the biggest names we've heard, which – I guess we could stay with the 1s and 2s to start off with.
Sure.
Noah Thomas made some nice plays like he's been doing.
He looks like a number 1 receiver.
Dillon Bell played terrific. Branch played great. So there was nobody that the running game was good too. The running game did exactly what Georgia wanted to do. They, like we said, we didn't leave Stockton out there for very long, and then it moved on to Puglisi and to Montgomery, Ryan Montgomery, who didn't even play his senior year. He got injured in his first game.
Blown ACL, yeah.
He was one of those guys that was right up there. But without that senior year, he really didn't ascend to the top. Maybe he would have, maybe he wouldn't have. But he's looking like a guy right now that he's not just going to wilt away on the vine. He's somebody that they could use, and they're gonna coach up. He could be number 2 this year.
He could very well. That's a fabulous point. I was just about to say that it wasn't as though Puglisi did anything. Puglisi's number 2 right now. That there's no one that would argue that. And it's not like Puglisi didn't really do anything to lose ground. It's just that Montgomery keeps gaining ground. And so just to your point right there, I think a month or so into the season, or maybe a little after, we're going to start to hear rumblings that there may be a new number 2. That competition is going to heat up seriously. Assuming everybody stays healthy, that competition between Puglisi and Montgomery is heating up. It got hot this past week, and it's going to get hotter.
And for all we know, Montgomery still may be number 4 behind Puglisi, Coulter again.
Yeah.
But that's just a quality or quarterback room, and it's nice to have those guys. But yeah, Montgomery came in there and the Dogs attacked vertically a lot this past Saturday, which I love, especially if you got a team that you're anticipating featuring the run game. That vertical passing attack will be big chunk plays. It'll pay off when you got people pushing up and trying to stop the run. It'll pay off big time. And so he hooked up with CJ Wiley a couple times.
Two big bombs.
And Wiley was ready to go. You hadn't heard much from him so far, but he was ready to play and jumped right in there. He had over 200 yards receiving from what I heard. And so those were two big names who had big performances Saturday.
Yeah, we said it on this show that we thought that C.J. Wiley was the most SEC-ready receiver. We didn't say – we're not going to say he's the most talented. We're not going to say he's going to start, whatever. The most SEC-ready. And he came out. Montgomery found him twice on 2 big plays. And like you said, that wasn't it. He did a lot after that as well. And so really – if anything, he solidified himself as a player you want to grow and develop. You know, I'm not saying, did he earn a starting role? No one knows. The players don't even know, so we certainly don't know what that means. But he did nothing but show out. And I heard this, a little nugget I heard last night talking to a couple of people, is that the problem – and I don't even want to say problem, but one of the things that they've approached Gunner and Montgomery and Puglisi about working on is maybe not going deep so often when you throw the ball. Can you imagine that problem? We haven't had that for a couple of years, that the what you need to improve on, maybe we go deep too often. I think that's a problem all Georgia fans would welcome. Let's chuck it deep and see what happens with these freak athletes down the field.
Well, dude, if you got the weapons and Georgia has them this year, and you've got a quarterback who seems to specialize in throwing those deep balls.
Yeah.
The only thing I worry about, if it takes him a little longer to throw it, you got those defenders coming off the edge trying to get to your back arm.
And he's got a slow release too. I mean, relatively
a little bit slower,
speaking. Yeah.
But he's very accurate, and even under pressure, you've seen what he can do. But yeah, another player that freshman that you want to hear about, because we don't know how deep he is, where he is on the depth chart. But Elias Williams got in there too. He made a couple of plays. Had just one of those plays that you anticipate a player of his size.
Only a player of his size could make.
Yeah, where he just goes up over a defender. He's well defended and just goes up higher than you can and high points the ball. And there's nothing you can do about it. And so those are the type of plays that they're working on. And they did a lot of red zone work. We even heard that Stockton came in after those first few series, came back in for the red zone work and made a play like you anticipate him making, avoiding the rush and extending the play with his legs and finding Dillon's zone in a soft spot in the end zone.
Yeah, Dillon Bell for the touchdown.
Bell,
yeah, no, you're right. Dillon Bell for the touchdown, which is exactly what we want to see this year. The Elias Williams news. Isn't it interesting how we never have a conversation about a practice or a scrimmage that doesn't have Elias Williams' name in it? And I'm not saying it's positive every time or negative every time, but his name is always there. And I think that shows you what the potential is there. But yeah, back to your point about Gunner and Bell, seeing those two, which they're both upperclassmen now, right? Seeing those two come in, get the job done, ad-lib on a play, and stick it in the end zone, that is exactly the type of leadership and control and understanding of the offense this team has desperately coveted.
Now, defensively, a couple players we did hear about was I did hear that because everybody's going to always ask about Ellis Robinson IV, and he looks like he played well, and he's kind of solidified himself as definitely in that top 3 in that cornerback. If it's a rotation, he's in there.
Yeah.
And really there's a top 4, but it just depends on how much time they're going to give these guys and who gets dinged up and how much they trust them. But I feel like just even hearing Kirby Smart spoke today, and they want to go immediately to Ellis Robinson because he was one of the number 1 recruits in the country. He was the number one defensive back in the country.
Defensive back, yep.
So people always want to know about him. They always want to know. And he's like, yeah, he had a good week, good week of practice, good scrimmages. But he also said, but so did DeMelo Jones.
Yeah.
And but people have their favorites they focus on, and that's fine because ultimately you want to have a team with that depth, and it's not customary to have the depth that Georgia has in that secondary. Yeah. Justin Williams also, that freak linebacker, had a scoop and score. Georgia, I think Talon Taylor was running reverse. And just kind of, I think he was switching hands or something, just dropped the ball. It was ugly, he said. Ugly fumble. And Justin Williams scooped and scored on that for a touchdown. But otherwise, it was mostly an offensive performance. And so that automatically brings out the other folks.
It triggers.
There's a trigger in there. If you don't care, because 2 weeks ago it was because Georgia's defense was dominating. I was like,
great.
I just don't know about our offense. I just don't think our offense is going to,
fire Bobo. Yeah.
Those things. Yeah. Our offensive line's still not getting it done. And we don't have this. We don't have that. All those good receivers just going to, they're not going to be utilized. Things like that. But then the offense comes back and has a good week. So I want you fans to think about this. This is my main point, my main takeaway. I would love for you for this, as we talk about scrimmages, we talk about preseason, we talk about quality teams that have offense and defenses that are equally yoked, pretty much in terms of talent.
Yes,
there is always an ebb and a flow,
right?
And just like before the first scrimmage, all we heard about was the offense in preseason camp. All we heard about was offense, and the defense got tired of hearing about it, and so they shut it down that first scrimmage pretty well. Another week of practice, offense didn't like that too much either. Offensive coaches didn't like that either. They attacked. Their offensive line was ready to go. They gave time. They made space. Georgia ran the ball the way they wanted to. They threw the ball vertically. They got the people involved that they wanted to see things from. But it was an ebb and a flow for offense and defense. And that's what we call iron sharpening iron.
Right.
If you just got one side dominating the whole time, then that's not what you're getting. You're not getting better on both sides of the ball unless you have that give and take. And that's what you're seeing. Don't let that worry you.
Yeah, Troup, Branson, we have said so many times on this show, no one hits the panic button faster than a Georgia fan. And you told me, you said the news was coming out, and I'm like, oh, this looks really good. I mean, even seeing, for me, when you see a Dwight Phillips score on a big play, to me, that's such great news because it means they're really understanding how to get the ball to playmakers. Dwight Phillips' father was an Olympian. Get the ball in the hands of a world-class athlete, and let's see what he can do. So I'm like, oh, they're getting it. I'm really excited. And Troup says to me, he's like, well, just be prepared for the comments. What's wrong with the defense?
Yeah, wait for the reaction.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. Primarily on our TikTok at the Dog Show Pod. On our TikTok, it was just like, what's the deal with Georgia's defense this year? Oh my gosh, terrible news for the defense. I want to know the scenario in which all Georgia fans would be happy after a scrimmage, but I don't think that scenario exists, Troup.
Yeah. Just be aware that Georgia wants to be better offensively than they were last year. And they brought 2 coaches just for that purpose to work on with the offensive line in the running game and the scheme, and Phil Rauscher and John Lilly. So be aware that Coach Smart is also aware of it, and he's focused on it. And they don't let that linger. Expect the offense to be really good. Georgia had scored 40 points a game 2 years in a row, and then last year it was under 35. And so, for a multitude of reasons, it's never just one thing. But yeah, I think you're going to have an ebb and a flow in terms of seasons as well, as Georgia's offense is set to rebound. And you folks worried about Gunnar Stockton? We've been worried in the past about quarterbacks. This is the type of quarterback that thrives in Georgia's system. very talented. He's done it before. He's had the accolades in the past. He's shown, and he's waited his turn, and he hasn't just waited it and complained. Like we've seen quarterbacks not start their freshman year and complain.
Yeah.
And say stuff like, "Oh, I'm the best at handing off the ball. You know, I don't throw a stinking pass." Just get the work in and get better. And that's what Stockton has done. And we're going to see the fruits of his labor and how he's prepared. And I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I'm excited. I'm not the least bit worried about what Stockton can do. But I will say he could have a great season. It still comes down to your legacy and what you do in a season, what you do in the second halves of elimination games.
Yep.
You're going to make your bones as a player from a quarterback position based on what you do in elimination games, and especially in those second halves. You either make plays or you don't. You can have a terrific season and then not make plays in those games. You can see what Ohio State did last year. They lost 2 games in the regular season. Nobody was impressed with them offensively at all last year, and they had the toughest road in the playoffs. They played the toughest schedule when the playoffs hit. Those 4 games, they played 4 tough teams, and they just went on a run. Their offense clicked at the right time.
That's right.
So that's where you get it done. I think
that's where you get it done. Yeah, I can't remember who it was I was listening to, but it was a sports prognosticator back in the days of the sports radio stuff where you listen to a bunch of shows in the day. He said, and with quarterbacks, the great ones go out and get it done when the other team knows exactly what they're going to do. Meaning, fourth quarter, you're down 5, under 2 minutes to go. Everybody knows what you're going to do. Do you go out and get it done, or what happens there? That's where it comes down. When the other team knows what you're going to do as a quarterback and you still get it done. That's what your Joe Burrows, for instance, were able to do, and your David Tuas were able to do.
And what we saw last weekend in the preseason, what Stetson Bennett continues to do.
What Stetson Bennett continues to do. If you remove the really bad female commentating from it, what Stetson Bennett still manages to do. It was tarnished only by someone that didn't really go to broadcasting school screaming in the middle of a play.
I don't know. Maybe she did, but not. Yeah, but that's Mina Kynes. But yeah, she decided to be a cheerleader during the game. And I mean, I've done radio for years at football games, and one of the first things I tell somebody who's in there who's new: do not get too excited on a big play. I don't want to hear your voice until I'm done talking, and then you can describe what happened. But do not yell over me or be a cheerleader in here in this press box. That's what she was doing. It was so hard to listen to.
I know. You ever wonder why Vern Lundquist had such a long career?
Yeah.
Because he always talks like this. He doesn't step on anybody.
Yeah, don't step on it. Now, we talked about the scrimmage and the some of the players that shined. We didn't really hear a lot about Nate Frazier. He just scored a touchdown. I don't know what else he did. We just didn't hear him. We weren't there to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And the running back room has been something that's been a topic for conversation. We mentioned last week we're going to talk about it this week, so we're not just deciding on the fly. We are going to talk about what the running back room looks like. Nate Frazier is the leader there right now, the guy who expects to get the most carries, which may not be over 20 carries a game.
I agree. Yeah.
And he's got, people are trying to determine who else is going to be a weapon in there. Who's going to be the tandem? We already kind of know that Cash Jones and Dwight Phillips are going to be those kind of, I would call them gadget players. Because you're going to put them in space, get them in motion, try to get a great matchup with them and take advantage of that. They're not going to be guys that come in there and get tons of carries, especially in the second halves when you want to run the ball.
Correct.
And so I will say, before we talk about who is going to pair with Nate Frazier, I don't think it gets talked about enough that Nate Frazier needs to be better as well.
Yeah.
Last year's a freshman, still with worlds of talent and still learning what he needed to do. There was a key stat, Smooch, that he was not great at, and it was yards after contact. So we saw when he got hit, he didn't maintain his balance a lot. He went down.
Interesting. Yeah.
And he had a really low yards after contact. So low, I will say. 2.81 yards after contact.
Interesting.
In 2024, put him in out of 110 qualified backs in those situations, he was 95.
Ooh,
he was way down in the bottom
that's
third.
Yeah, that's significant.
So yeah, he's got to get better at that because you maintain your contact, bounce off somebody, and that's where the big plays come a lot. Because I always wondered, looking at him, the way he chops it up and runs, you're like, okay, he's a big play waiting to happen.
Right.
But yeah, if nobody touches him, he could. But they're going to hit you. You're going to have to take some contact.
That's the difference. The difference between him and Nick Chubb, right? Nick Chubb, the first two guys that touched him had nothing. They didn't even slow him down. There's a huge difference there. Yeah.
Yeah. So we, if you're trying to put your finger on what he was missing last year, even though he looks so good when he's running the ball,
his feet are poetry in motion, but it's the physicality that
he's a dread. He knows it.
He does,
and he's already. I've heard him say, and they had an interview with him last week, and he was like, "Okay, whatever." He was also talking about how he had some fumbling issues. He said, "Just watch me this year. You won't see that." Which is also a physicality thing. It's also his technique, but it's also being physical at the point of contact when you do get hit. So he's addressing those things. He is that kind of cat that cares immensely about all the nuances of being the best he can be and being a Georgia Bulldog. And he's paid homage to the other great running backs when he scores a touchdown. You've seen him do the jazz hands and do the bows that Todd Gurley would do. He loves that stuff. So
if anybody can choose a key aspect of his game and improve it in one season, I can see Nate Frazier can do that. There's nothing out of the realm of possibility about that. I think he can. We'll see if his words match his actions in the offseason in a couple of weeks.
I think he probably will, because that was really one of the ones thing other than ball security that he was looking at in the offseason. So who's number two? I hear names floated. And I think a lot of people wanted Rod Robinson, who is 235-pound man, number one running back out of California 3 years ago. And we had high hopes for him. He's had injuries. It hasn't really panned out, and he's kind of looked slow in practice, just like the guy we brought in, Josh McCray, I think, from Illinois. He's kind of looked
a little clunky,
whether that's just getting up to speed or early injury. I think he had something going on with that as well, sickness maybe. So none of those guys have elevated themselves so far in camp, and so they may still. But if they don't, you're looking at really two players that could give you what you want when we talk about that Kirby Smart death march.
Yeah,
that's what we're really talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Yeah,
and you don't have to just because you don't have a death march in the first half doesn't mean you don't utilize those same players to get a third down and 2.
Talk about doing something when the defense knows you're going to be doing it. That's what the death march is, right?
Yep, that's exactly right. And that offensive line plays a big role in that, but you got to have physical backs as well, and you can't. You don't want to run Nate Frazier 35 times and this season, you're going to depend on him. Like I said, the games really matter, and it was elimination games. You got to have them healthy then. Mm-hmm. And so it comes down to a true freshman or a redshirt freshman to me, unless, like I said, Robinson or McCray step forward. They still could. And that's Chauncey Bowens and Bo Walker, two different kind of backs. Mm-hmm. Of course, Bo Walker has jumped on the scene for being a playmaker, and he's still good size, over 200 pounds. And just
a bowling ball.
But with big playability and agility. But he's more in the line of what Nate Frazier would do, just a little bit bigger, but still like a Nate Frazier. He's maybe provides depth to what Frazier's doing. So I think Smooch, the other guy who people, and I'm guilty of it, so I'm going to say
he's not the sexy pick. No, say it. I know exactly what you're going to say.
Not the sexy pick, but we saw him at the spring game as the best running back.
The best running back. That's right.
And he's done it in camp as well. When they get on, maybe he's not the best practice back. I don't know. But when he gets on the field, he makes plays and he catches the ball out of the backfield. That's Chauncey Bowens. And he's a bigger back. He might start off the season at number 2 back to carry some of the load. Why wouldn't he?
I would say this, Troup Brinson. I personally think the competition is closer from 1 to 2 than it is from 2 to 3. I think Chauncey and Nate have elevated themselves that much. I think that the who's going to be on the field, who's going to be taking what carries, I think Nate's the guy. But I think Chauncey is almost moving up to a 1B position rather than a 2 position.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of how I see it, because he's just consistent. He's always getting positive yardage, and he runs so punishingly. You know, we held up our phones and recorded so many plays. I was just watching them a couple of nights ago. We recorded so many plays at the spring game, and Chauncey is just running so hard. And we know Kirby, we know his mentality. I wouldn't be surprised at all to find out that Chauncey is firmly entrenched at 2, if not on his way for something even better. Yeah.
And it's like we never see it coming. Every like in this spring game, I didn't see it coming. I'm like, I wasn't thinking about Chauncey Bowens. I wanted to see Bo Walker. I want to see Nate Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chauncey's like making play after play. I'm like, okay, well,
right.
I wasn't upset about it, but I was like, okay, well, good job. Where's the guys I was looking for? And I got caught in a little, I guess, confirmation bias, looking for the players that were I wanted to see succeed, and kind of missing on what was really happening there. But when it keeps happening, and I think that running back room is a good room. It would be much better if Rod Robinson and McCray really came on and provided some carries for us, and maybe they will.
The health
they're
of
going to
Rob,
give carries. They're going to give carries to Dillon Bell.
That's right.
He showed you in the scrimmage game. They're going to give carries to Cash Jones. Mm-hmm. When you think Cash is in the backfield to either pick up a pass protect or take a little small swing pass, and he carries the ball, those things happened last year. You expect to see him again. And Dwight Phillips doing some of the things to get him on the edge in space when the numbers look right. So there's carries to go around.
100%. Keeping guys like Cash Jones and Dwight Phillips fresh and away from contact, like, the ground and pound contact, that's actually very important. You take a player like Nate Frazier, you say, he may need to get in the flow of a game. Let's put him in. Let's let him get hit. Let's let him do his thing. When it comes to your players like Cash and Phillips, those players don't need to get hit. They just need to be fresh. They need to be in the game because they are an eye blink away from turning the whole thing around. And now the hope is that with Chauncey, especially if Robinson progresses and gets healthier and healthier, that those guys are now relegated more to what their natural role should be. When I'm speaking of Cash and Phillips, get them relegated to what their role should be. Cash can pick up a blitz. He can stick his nose in there and get it done. He can take it up the middle on 3rd and 1. We've seen him do all of that. But that's not his gift mix, right? His gift mix is using his athletic ability in open space. And so the hope is that these larger bell cow backs can step up and take over a little more of the physicality responsibility so that the smaller fleet of foot guys can really shine.
Exactly. And they brought McCray in from Illinois to play that role, that number 2 bruising back. And it may just be, we may be jumping the gun on all this.
He may be the number 2. Yeah.
And when by the time week 3 rolls around, he may be that guy who's firmly entrenched, and you say, okay, well, we jumped the gun on that. And he had an injury, or he was sick. He was sick a couple weeks ago, and it's taking a minute to get over that. It may be, but it's not always that way, because we've seen these transfers come in sometimes and they just don't hit it early like you expect. You'd like them to.
Right.
But from a running back position, you would think if you got it, you got it.
That's right.
So we'll see. We'll see. Well, we did do a couple days ago a Ball Knower top 15 dog show poll. And we're going to put that on the screen right now, and we're going to talk just a bit about it.
It's beautiful. It
is beautiful.
This is, I think, the most. I will put this poll up against any poll in 9 months, and I bet you we're the most accurate.
Yeah, and we talked about this, and some of it is not necessary. It's where they are right now. I don't know or really feel like this is not it's not the dog show playoff bracket.
It's not a prediction of a. You're right. You're exactly right.
How good you are right now. But then I'm always confused on polls a little bit, because are you saying which team is strongest right now, or do you say which team is more positioned to get through the season schedule and end up right here at this point?
Right.
I don't know. It just depends on how you look at it. I do think Clemson has a quarterback who's going to have a Heisman-esque type season where he'll be right in the mix for that.
Agreed.
Clemson's got good talent. Their defense wasn't great last year. I think they're going to be good enough this year. They got some key players. And I just think that Clemson in that ACC is going to have a great chance to run through there. They're going to have some tight games. There's a couple of tough games they're going to have to play. They failed in a couple of those last year. I just think Klubnik is going to be too good to let that happen with another season. A team that's seasoned just enough that Clemson is a team that I feel I got no problem putting them up there. Do I think they're going to win a national championship? I don't know. I would tend to pick the field over Clemson, which I would pick the field over anybody in terms of just one team, but I feel good about that. And we did mix it up a little bit in terms of some of the teams. We pushed some teams around and maybe they are surprised where they are.
Right.
And one team we moved up, Smooch, and I was actually surprised about this, was USC. How did USC sneak into the top 10? We have chastised their fans and their coaches all off season for the past 3 years, really, 3 or 4. And then the dog show sticks them into the top 10. It's like when you got a player who you think's got some potential and you want to give him that little nudge and say, I believe in you, kid. I'm gonna bat you lead off today. You probably usually hitting in the 8th and 9th hole, putting you lead off today. Let's see if you got it, what it takes to stay there. And so we're giving them a shot.
I really respect that about this list. Because we care. We've said that before.
That's right, Zulu. We don't hate you.
No, we care. Look at this. We've got you, 3 spots ahead of Oregon? Look at the care. Look at the love.
Well, I really think we maybe should have, and this was because this is now they're not the Pac-10, Pac-12, they're the Big Ten. Or is it whatever the Big 10? Was it the Big 10? Is that what they call it now? It confuses me because they changed so much.
I don't know. The nickel.
Yeah. But so they're over. Oregon and USC are now right there with Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. So whatever you think, I really almost was thinking that maybe because how many teams from a conference is going to sneak in there? You only got so many spots, and SEC's got 6 teams on this list. This list of 15. That's pretty good representation. And so I was like, well, maybe USC. They got like 2 tough games. Maybe they win those games, and it's them.
That's it. All they got to do is win those.
State. Maybe it's them and Ohio State in the conference championship. It's not Penn State. It's not Michigan. It's not Oregon. Maybe it's them those 2 teams.
That would be a dream. That would be a dream. I'll tell you something else. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, and I am dead serious. This is not hyperbole in any way. I really think Georgia Tech can beat any team outside of the top 5. And in the right conditions, with the right things happening, they don't have the overall talent to be a favorite in a lot of those games, but they can do it. If the right things happen and they fall, Tech is a tough team.
They're a tough out.
They're a tough out, man. They're a tough out. They are the Brett Butler of college football.
The thing about a team like Tech, and you nailed it, is if things happen right for them, it's a team that doesn't have overall talent. So if you play your C game and you have a couple of turnovers, you lose.
That's right.
You don't make it out of that game. And a team like Georgia or Ohio State, you can have a C game and have a couple of turnovers and look ugly and still win a game like that. They've done it many times. But a team like Tech has to play so well over and over and over again. Sometimes those games you don't think that's going to be a problem that ends up getting you.
Yeah.
We respect that by the way they played against Georgia last year. We hate Tech, but
yes,
we respect a team that plays like that. And that it was after the game, it was hard to watch Haynes King deal with that loss. I'm like, dude, because you got to respect somebody who puts it on the line like that and takes a physical beating like he did just for his team. That's not that's not common. It's not common to see players give that much.
It never crossed his mind he was going to lose that game until they lost. It never crossed his mind. I'm like, that's a champion right there. That's a guy that gets it.
We apologize. It is clean old fashioned hate.
You suck, Tech.
We didn't put him in the top 10.
That's right.
Top 15.
Yeah, 14.
The other team that's a little irritated, I've already gotten some emails or some messages on putting Texas at 10.
I think that's generous.
Texas can lose 3 games, folks. I
Texas
don't know
will
if you
lose
saw,
at least 3 games. Yeah.
You do know they play Ohio State and Georgia, both on the road.
Both losses. Yes.
You do know that. You do know that. You know that Oklahoma's improved. There are other losable games. Did they play Florida too? There are losable games in there that Texas. There people are already saying they got a great defense. I don't know if they got a great. They had to replace a lot last year, and a lot of these guys are coming in and new contributors, and we'll see how that plays out. But you hinge so much on our Arch Manning.
Yeah.
Then what happens? What happens if he's not that good? If he's just a good quarterback, but not a, there's no way he can be what a lot of people are saying he's going to be. There's no way.
There's no possible way. Here's Texas' schedule. I'll just run through it real quick. We'll throw it up here on the screen. Texas against Ohio State, then San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston, which is, all those gifts they get thrown. Here we go. Florida, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, the Bama Killers, and then Georgia.
Yeah.
And then Arkansas and Texas A&M.
A&M's, I forgot, A&M, Oklahoma, and Florida. On top of those 2 road games against Georgia and Ohio State, all losable games.
Yes, I agree 100%.
And you're not a juggernaut, Texas. You're not. I mean, you aspire to be, and people are telling you you're a juggernaut. If you were, you don't go 0-2 against Georgia last year. You don't.
No.
If you were that team, you wouldn't have done it then either. But what if Arch gets hurt? We talk about your depth at a quarterback room, and we talked about Georgia's with Puglisi and Montgomery and Coulter again this year. Maybe those names don't ring a bell to a lot of folks other than real diehard Georgia fans like us, but we know those guys can play ball. Their number 2 quarterback on the depth chart is a redshirt freshman. His name is Trey Owens. Last year, he was 2 for 4. He threw 4 passes for 19 yards last year.
Goodness gracious.
Their number 3 quarterback, Matthew Caldwell, a redshirt senior, so he's been around for a while.
Yeah, he's played a little bit.
He did last year have 224 passes, 63% completion rate, and 13 TDs. So he may be the guy. He's a transfer from Troy, so he didn't play at Texas. He transferred from Troy, but he's still likely the 3rd string.
He's going to be the
quarterback. Because they say Trey Owens has got upside, and so the transfer from Troy, they're not even counting on him being number 2. It's Owens.
My goodness. You're counting on upside. So you're counting on unrealized upside at the number 1 and at the number 2 position where your quarterbacks right now, because no one has shown that they have any upside so far. Interesting.
Yeah. But that's our poll. That's where we're sitting right now. I think at some point we'll do our playoff predictor, because everybody's doing it. We might as well too. And
sure.
Let you guys criticize us for that, our homerisms. We are a dog show podcast, so
that's what
Bulldog podcast. But I think it's time for Smooch to hit that delusional fan alert.
You think so?
So delusion is a fixed false belief that doesn't change in light of conflicting evidence.
They don't know reality from their dream worlds, and they won't go outside and play.
A fixed false belief that is not grounded in reality.
The Delusional Fan Alert, the number 1 segment, most popular segment
in all the sports.
All the sports.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't think anybody even and nobody's even arguing that at this point. It's so popular.
I've never heard anyone dispute it.
I never heard a good argument against it. But since we talked about Texas as the team that dropped the farthest in the poll, we're going to talk about Texas in this Delusional Fan Alert, because their fans are on Twitter, and you get these random fans, and sometimes it's good to put them on the show and let everybody see what delusion looks like. A team who hasn't won anything in how long? How long has it been since Texas has actually won something of significance? It's been a bit. It's been a while.
It's been a little while. I don't remember. It's a few presidents. Let's put it that way.
So let me pull this up. I sent this to Smooch as I was perusing on Twitter, and it was a conversation about those games last year and how Texas felt like they were so close to winning both of those games, or they should have won both of those games. And and they had Georgia in a bad spot. They had Georgia in hell, is what I actually read. In hell. Let's just go through this chronologically, and I will let you know that at some point a former Georgia alum football player was involved in this conversation.
Yes, a former Georgia great shows up somewhere in this delusional fan alert, and it is nothing short than glorious.
So this wholesome football account is what it's called. Wholesome football account from Texas says that, I hate to say it, but that L against Georgia, that last L against Georgia hurt. We outplayed them on every single level. Every single level.
Let me stop you right there, because there's the scoreboard level. And on that level, they in fact did not outplay Georgia. What they did do at every level was lose to a backup quarterback. Continue.
well, then you pop up right here. You see some fan is calling us the new Bama.
Yeah.
It shows the score at halftime, 6-3. So they're outplaying Georgia so much that they got a 6-3 lead.
Ooh.
And the next response was some random tried to tell you a guy said that they led Georgia by 3 at halftime, or that led Georgia by 3 at halftime banner is going to look really nice in Austin.
That guy needs a hoodie. I'm going to send him a hoodie.
I like that. And I'm going to send you this. I don't think I sent this one to you, Smooch. And this is from a Georgia. Let me see, a Georgia fan who we know pretty well. His name is Two Pete. We know Two Pete.
I know Two Pete.
He says, we outplayed them on every single level. And then he marks off the way that Texas did not do well. First of all, they lost the turnover battle twice, both games. Lost time of possession twice.
Both games, yeah.
Committed more penalties twice.
Both games.
Got held to less than 35 yards rushing. Let me say that again. Got held by less than 35 rushing twice. And only thing they outplayed us in was throwing a bunch of yards while throwing more picks than TDs versus Georgia. Thank you, Two Pete. That was very succinctly put.
Ooh, man, that is what they say. That's a game right there, right? And that's it.
So going back, and then after the fan said that go ahead and hang that banner of we had Georgia by 3 at halftime.
Right.
So El Jefe for Texas says that Texas had Georgia doubled up in total yards at halftime. Let's not be dense.
Right. Like, the game is 2 halves, correct? I mean, it's like they want some sort of credit for halfway through an incomplete game being ahead. That to me, that is that's just such a weird flex. I don't quite get it.
And we saw, we know how it all goes when the excuses and the coping definitely come. But El Jefe responded to his own post there.
Yes, not to be outdone by his own ignorance, he responded to himself. Continue, Troup.
Yes. You're arguing the point that Texas had Georgia in hell, which is in fact true.
Ooh.
The score was not indicative of that. If you don't know ball, just say that. Just say you don't know ball. And before the
Drew Brinson, I am so sick of when you run out of intelligent things to say or you can no longer debate, just tell the other person they don't know ball. That is that's the I stick my fingers in my ear and yell na 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 of football debate. I mean that's let's get away from the you don't know ball stuff.
Well, Georgia great in 2003. Number 20 pick overall by the Denver Broncos, offensive tackle George Foster, did respond to that don't know ball comment. And he says, here it is, I'm still learning American football. But what I do know is that Texas had 2 shots at Georgia last season, and they failed.
Oh, so that's the way.
He dropped them off with the rest of the kids with that comment. So go ahead and argue with us.
Only a dog could bite that hard. That is so beautiful. I'm still learning American football. This is a 12-year NFL career. But
Big George.
What do I know? What I do know is that Texas had 2 shots at Georgia last season and failed.
Yes.
How do you argue with that, Drew?
You don't. So Texas, just beware. We're going to check you. Because when you lose games, we learned this over the years, and before Georgia started winning championships again, that you throw these comments out there and think people are going to pat you on the back. Yeah. It's not going to happen. We're going to call you out. And the bottom line is winning. And if you lose 2 games to the same team, you can't claim anything for that year. You can't. Don't. Just don't. It's sad. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And we're going to use it against you.
Indeed.
As long as we can. And now Georgia gets you in Athens this year. And if you can come to Athens and win in that environment, then we'll give you credit for that. We'll piss and moan and be irritated by it for a bit.
Yeah.
But and maybe cope a little bit as well. But you're gonna have to earn it.
That's right. But spoiler alert, Texas, you can't come to Athens and win this year. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, we're not going to allow that to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. No.
So, Smooch, we got just a little more time before maybe one more podcast. This is actually podcast number 150. I should have put the drum roll.
Buddy. Yeah.
Big number. 150 for the Dog Show. And next week, I'm going to do a little beach time next week. We may tie this thing up from I'm going down to Tybee.
Yeah.
Maybe no hurricanes. I know there's a little something brewing, but maybe we'll be fine with that. We're going to just kind of reset during game week. And so I'm going to do that. And we may podcast from Tybee and from Huntsville.
Absolutely.
Got to work. And before Georgia and Marshall hook it up on the 30th. And what a big week. Weekend, of course, the 30th, I think there's so many games that we're going to be paying attention to. But we'll touch on that next week. I think we need to preface next week the games that we're going to watch.
I love it.
And I don't think there's going to be anything. Hopefully, I really hope 0 comes out of Athens at all the next 2 weeks. I don't hear anything. I mean, nothing. I do, but I don't.
No, nothing. If you're a Georgia player, please don't get in a car and drive.
Go back to the scooters.
Go back to the scooters.
I don't know. I don't hear injuries. I don't hear anything. I think Georgia, they're going to start game prepping. I think late this week, they're going to start game prepping.
Ooh, that's exciting.
For Marshall. Yeah. Marshall's a team that has had so much turnover, coaching staff and players, that we don't have any clue what to expect.
That's a dangerous team.
And those are games where you can look bad against teams. You have no idea what to look for. And they have all the film they need to look at you.
Yeah.
Severely outclassed, but still Division I and players that are going to give you everything they have.
Let's not forget when Alabama dealt with Georgia Southern in a triple option a few years ago, and that was the tin horn comment by Nick Saban. They could not stop Georgia Southern at the University of Alabama because of the, as you said it, the unknown.
Last year we saw Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame in game 1.
Yep.
The team that reached the finals, the championship game. So anyway, we'll talk about those games next week, and we hope that Georgia has a quiet week. I really don't think they'll scrimmage, and if they do, it won't be a serious, padded, hard-hitting scrimmages. You're going to have a lot.
Not a bloody Tuesday. Yeah.
You're not going to have the stuff come out of what happens this weekend in Athens that we had for you last Saturday. So it may be a low-key next week and a half, and be okay with that, because after that, the season's going to come and go in a flash, and we're going to be here for it. Anything else on your mind, Smooch, as we wrap this one up?
Hey, I feel good. Hey, guys, thanks for we added a couple of hundred more, or 100 or so more subscribers on YouTube, a few hundred more on our Twitter. Y'all keep it up, man. We really appreciate it. And follow the show. Keep asking the questions. Keep commenting. We try and respond to every comment. As we get bigger, it's a little harder to respond to every one of them, but for those diehard fans that always comment, that always talk show with us, we really appreciate you. We know exactly who you are. Keep it coming. That's really one of the things that fuels us to keep this up.
And if you really enjoy it, what we're doing, it's really kind of a different product from the different platforms. You can go, what you see on YouTube is a little different sometimes than what you'll experience on TikTok or what you'll see on Twitter. It's just different. The conversation is different on each platform.
That's very true.
And so if you enjoy it, you can kind of experience it different ways on each of these platforms and opportunities. We enjoy that. And we know you do too. Thank you so much for Smooch Moncrief. This is Troup Brinson saying so long. We'll see you soon.
We want Georgia! We want Georgia!
This is the Dog Show with Troup and Smooch.
It's the dog show. It's the dog show. It's the dog show. show.